Wow. No. So are we ready?
I think so.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Well, good morning. I know that you all have a lot of questions regarding the recent news of an eventual transition, and we're going to give you an opportunity to ask those questions. But first, we have a great topic that we're going to highlight this morning, and it's about broadband expansion. The 21st century digital economy has really transformed the way we live, work, and relate to each other as a society. Access to broadband has become essential for process in all areas of development across Iowa communities, including education, workforce, health, housing, small business development, and access to government and financial services. Nationally, over the last 5 years, the United States has seen significant progress in the development of high-speed broadband. Over those same 5 years, we in Iowa have also seen progress in the development and the adoption of broadband. High-speed advanced telecommunications capacity, which is 25 megabytes per second download and 3 megabytes upload, now reaches 78% of Iowa households. In 2015, the passing of our Connect Every Acre bill, Iowa's first broadband bill, with assistance from the STEM Council's Broadband Committee, really has given local communities the tools for planning to be more connected in the future. Through our Connect Iowa program, 30 communities have organized and created technology plans, and 23 of those communities have become certified connected communities. The governor and I have had the privilege and really the honor of attending 14 of those certification events across Iowa, and those have happened in small towns like Woodbine to urban settings like West Des Moines. We've had the opportunity to meet with local leaders who recognize this priority for their community's future. Through the Connect Iowa activity and the work from our dedicated broadband providers and communities across the state, we've seen our broadband access grow. Adoption trends hover around the national average, and the use of broadband impacting our communities. Broadband expansion is crucial, again, for our rural and urban communities alike in areas of education, healthcare, business, and government, impacting the lives and the livelihood of Iowa citizens. But there's more work to be done in order for us to become the most connected state in the Midwest. So we're excited about the opportunity, we're excited about the foundation, but we know there's always room for growth. I'd like to now turn it over to Governor Branstad to tell you about a new effort that will engage and provide Iowa communities the tools that they need to steer their communities and their towns to success. Governor Branstad?
Well, thank you very much, Lieutenant Governor Reynolds. Recent FCC and U.S. Census data, households with access to advanced fixed broadband services, that's 25 megabits down and 3 megabits up, are contained within about 1/3 of Iowa's geography, and our broadband adoption of 75% trails the majority of our neighboring states, communities the hardest. That's why we are announcing today the creation of a Blue Ribbon Initiative to continue the vision of making Iowa the most connected state in the Midwest. This effort will be organized as a public-private partnership with the goal of raising $2 million in private funding. I am charging Connect Iowa with the responsibility of engaging Iowa communities with the tools they need to steer their community to success. We want to connect every acre of Iowa with robust, high-speed internet in all forms because it will help our communities preserve what is best about our past and create new opportunities for a bright future in our state. The communities that will thrive in this new economy are those that take every opportunity to organize and continually plan to improve their technology capabilities. It will require our combined support and leadership to ensure our communities thrive. We have learned in the past 5 years that it is vital for every community to get organized, informed, and aligned along a common plan for their technology needs. We must continue and expand the work that we have begun. And now I'd like to invite our state's Chief Information Officer, Bob Van Woofrot, about our state's progress on this important issue. Bob?
Thanks, sir.
Good morning. First, I'd like to thank the Lieutenant Governor and the Governor for their unending, unwavering support of broadband. For the last number of years, probably half a decade, these two individuals know the economic development of internet access, the healthcare access, the education access, the equality, the employment, all of those things. So it's no surprise to some of us that work fairly close with them that they would come up with yet another innovative way to help communities out there expand broadband. Now, we're doing that through a lot of different ways. One of the ways last year we did it through HF 655 with the tax incentive program, which is moving very, very quickly. And we hope to publish the projects that were funded under that tax incentive in the next 6 months or so, so all the citizens can see it. But broadband access is not generally about government money. That's what makes this thing today so important, because it is a public-private partnership. And I'd like to introduce Tom Free, the president of Connected Nation, to talk specifically about how important it is to have the communities engaged in broadband.
Thank you, Bob. It's an honor to be here with Governor Branstad and Lieutenant Governor Reynolds today. Connected Nation recognized many years ago that the governor and his administration is one of the most active state governments in the country as it pertains to forward-looking broadband policy and programs. Governor Branstad and Lieutenant Governor Reynolds have long been passionate about this issue and have worked aggressively for a day where every acre of Iowa is connected and able to draw broadband services to homes and businesses so they may innovate, improve education, healthcare outcomes, and create jobs. And for these collective efforts, I'm proud to report that Iowa has been recognized as a best-in-class activity in its increase of access, adoption, and use of broadband technology. Now, to meet the next chapter in Governor Branstad and Lieutenant Governor Reynolds' vision, Connect Iowa will bring its best in broadband mapping, policy, and technical assistance to Iowa communities through our Connected Community Engagement Program. And the Connected program presents communities with a unique view of its technology landscape, a blueprint for leveraging technology to improve the quality of life and advance community and economic development. The Connected program examines broadband across many interrelated sectors of a community, including economic development, K-12 education and higher education, talent, workforce development, public safety and local government, tourism, libraries, and many more. These one-of-a-kind assessments and technology action plans will provide strategic insight and actionable tactics to address each community's unique and most pressing technology challenges, leaving the community with an organized local team and an inspired blueprint to be successful in today's digital economy. With a commitment today announced by Governor Branstad and Lieutenant Governor Reynolds, Iowa can continue in its long-term effort to connect every acre and connect every Iowan. Connect Iowa is dedicated to this mission. We are grateful for the administration's partnership, and we are eager to begin work. Thank you.
Okay, we'll take questions on this subject first before we get into the transition. Yes.
Is there any actual commitment of state dollars? I mean, I know it's a.
This is private. Yeah, we have already provided through the legislation, state incentives, tax incentives and whatever. And Bob mentioned in his remarks that they'll be announcing those projects that are receiving assistance through that program. But we want to also encourage the private sector to invest in this. And we're very hopeful that we will have, foundations and individuals that recognize how important this is that will contribute from the private sector to this as well.
Is there the goal to one day put more specific state dollars? I know states like Minnesota do a state-private partnership as well, where they put in up to, I think, $20 million in state dollars and then $20 million in private. I'm just curious if there's a long-term goal there with state dollars.
We've had some discussions with some people too that are interested in the infrastructure program that President-elect Trump has talked about. And there may be an opportunity with the new administration to see some federal investments in this area as well. Additional federal investments than in addition to what's been done in the past. So we're looking at all sources, federal, state, local, and obviously private sector.
Roughly how will this $2 million be spent?
Well, you want
Certainly.
to address that?
Well, I might expand on that question you asked, and Governor, that you mentioned. The Iowa is actually being recognized as an archetype in how to use local data to inform where infrastructure investments need to go so that they make the wisest choices in those limited resources. As it pertains to how this money will be spent, it is in support of our Connected program, where we actually engage at the local level to take data, inform action plans that will meet the unique circumstances of each community as it pertains to broadband deployment, adoption amongst the citizenry, and the use of it in the institutions and the various sectors that make up that community's livelihood.
Connected communities, and the Lieutenant Governor and I have visited a number of these. I mean, a good example is Bloomfield.
Yeah.
Now, Bloomfield is a small town that's where they lost the uninsured bank back in 1983. And that's a community that in 1983, when Jim Leach and I were at the fairgrounds, there was 700 people that were really concerned about the future of their community. It looked pretty bleak. Today, it's a robust, growing community in the southern tier of our state. And it's an example of what can be done when people work together. And it is one of those connected communities. And we're encouraging other communities to do like they've done in Woodbine and West Des Moines and many other communities in our state to become connected communities. And so we really want the local leadership to put together the strategy for their community, and then Connect Iowa will partner with them and give them technical advice and assistance. And then there is some cost involved, and that's why we need to continue to raise money from the private sector as well as from the federal and state governments. Other questions on this? If not, we'll go on then to the transition. With this historic transition, the Lieutenant Governor and I want to share some of the details with you. First, Iowans can expect this transition will progress smoothly. We've worked together as partners for the last 6 years, and since the full transition occurs after I have been confirmed by the United States Senate, it's difficult to know the exact date that that's going to occur. I'm told that there's a huge amount of paperwork that I have to fill out. I've talked to people that have been appointed ambassadors before, and I've talked to the transition team, and they've prepared me for it. I have not received the paperwork yet, but as soon as we get that, we'll start working on that. And I'm told after I've submitted that, they have 42 days to review it. Then it goes to the appropriate Senate committee. I've already talked with Senator Grassley, and he said he'd be glad to introduce me to the committee. I will likely then have to meet with the committee members and have hearings on the appointment. In 2009, President Obama announced his intention to appoint former Governor Huntsman from Utah as the ambassador to China. That was May 16th. Governor Huntsman was eventually confirmed on August 7th of 2009. As you know, since then, former Governor Gary Locke from Washington was the ambassador. And when Vice President Xi visited here in 2012, February 2012, Ambassador Locke rode with the Lieutenant Governor and her husband and I and my wife as we sped down Fleur Drive, because we met him at the airport, and my granddaughter presented him with a big bouquet of roses. But then we also wanted to greet him here at the Capitol. So I'm telling Ambassador Locke about Grays Lake and Waterworks Park as we're going by the motorcade on the way, and we did get here in time. And so then, of course, now Max Baucus is the ambassador. My wife and I talked to him and his wife over the weekend. His wife is Melanie Haynes. Some of you may remember Melanie Haynes as a lawyer and prosecutor here for Polk County Attorney's Office. And they've been extremely helpful to us, and we intend to meet with them, as we go through this process. President-elect Trump's inauguration is not till January 20th. And based on that date, I will be, prior to that date, delivering the condition of the state address to the 2017 General Assembly, as well as presenting a biennial budget for both years of this. And the Lieutenant Governor and I will be putting that together based on the revenue estimate that we received today. And we intend to submit a biennial budget, which we're very hopeful will be approved by this General Assembly to maintain the stability and predictability that we promised when we were elected in 2010 and 14. Likewise, I will present this to the General Assembly as we have in the past. Once confirmed by the U.S. Senate, and we don't know when that date will be, your guess, I guess, is as good as mine. But before I am actually sworn as ambassador, I will resign as governor. Upon resignation, the lieutenant governor will become the governor, and Governor Reynolds will then choose the lieutenant governor according to Iowa law. Governor Reynolds will not have to resubmit any of the appointments that I have made prior to my resignation. And even though they may not have been acted on by the Senate, the appointments will continue and as submitted by the governor, be it myself or by Governor Reynolds in the future. So with that, let me turn it over to the Lieutenant Governor.
Well, thank you, Governor Branstad. And first, I want to congratulate Governor Branstad on this historic appointment. I can absolutely think of no individual that is more qualified to serve in this capacity. And it certainly is a reflection of his character, his leadership skills, his experience, and most importantly, a relationship, a 30-year relationship with the President of China. So not only is Iowa fortunate to have Governor Branstad serving in this capacity, but this country is really blessed to have him serving in that capacity, especially when you look at the two largest economies in the world and the value that he brings to this position. So I'm excited for him, for the opportunity, not only for him, but for Chris and the Branstad family. As Governor Branstad indicated, he will remain governor until the confirmation. And upon confirmation by the United States Senate and the resignation of Governor Branstad, I will become the governor of the great state of Iowa. I plan on taking the oath of office as governor and filling the vacancy of the lieutenant governor position. For 6 years, I have had the opportunity to be a partner in this administration and work alongside the best governor in the nation. And it certainly is my hope and my goal to continue the same relationship with the lieutenant governor that will serve in my administration. And we both know that ensuring a smooth transition is paramount. So to that end, I'm also proud of the exceptional team that we have put together, whether it be the boards and commissions or the directors of the various agencies or the staff within the governor's office. And I absolutely plan on making no changes immediately in the team that we've put together. They've done an exceptional job, and we're really proud to have them serving with us in this capacity. So with that, I will open it up for questions.
It's always the second day of the legislative session, so the legislature convenes on the 9th. The condition of the state will be on the 10th. And it's 10 days before the inauguration. Yes, and it's, now, by law, I do not have to submit the budget until the end of January, but it's always been my tradition to try to give the legislature an opportunity to get started on it right away. So I intend to not only make my recommendations in the condition of the state, but submit budget for the 2 years of this biennium at the same time. And we're also very hopeful this legislature will approve the supplemental state aid for schools in the first month of the session for both years.
So it sounds like it's conceivable that you would remain governor through the whole session.
Well, it depends upon how long the session goes. But
Oh, that's a good point.
well, we don't know, but I do intend, and the lieutenant governor and I have worked as a team She's in on all the decision-making and has been from the beginning. And so we'll work together as long as I'm here. And then once I'm confirmed, then I will resign. But that could, as we know, we don't know when that will be exactly, but I suspect it'll be well into the session.
So I just want to make sure I understand, because I think your remarks, I was a little confused with, you will resign after a Senate confirmation.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not for sure. I have got to be confirmed by the Senate before I become the ambassador. So, the president has indicated his intentions to appoint me, but that requires Senate confirmation. And if you followed Senate confirmation, that's not always the easiest thing in the world. And I'm taking that responsibility very seriously. And it would be my intention to, I've been suggested by several people that are knowledgeable about this, that I should not only meet with the leadership of the committee, but hopefully with every member of the committee, both Republicans and Democrats.
That process, would that mean taking you to Washington a couple of times more than you expected?
Yeah.
Are there going to be accommodations where Lieutenant Governor Reynolds will be stepping up in a manner that?
Well, you've seen that before. When I'm gone, she's conducted the press conferences. We work together as a team. She's gone on trade missions. I've gone on trade missions. And so I don't expect it'll be more than a day or two that I would be gone for things like that. But, and that's a nice thing about cell phones. We stay in touch on a regular basis during those times, and we work together on those decisions. So, yeah, she will be here when I'm called to DC for meeting with the committee or hearings, things like that.
What committee is that? Foreign Relations.
Yeah, it's the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, I guess, is the appropriate committee. Yes.
Governor, you're talking about the paperwork. Is there no vetting or anything where you had to do paperwork before you could get the interview with the president-elect?
Well, as you know, I'm pretty well known, being governor for 22 years, the longest serving governor in American history. And my life is pretty much an open book. So people know a lot about me. And obviously this relationship that I have with the president of China and with the people of China, because of the sister state, which we signed the sister state agreement in '83. It's been a very active sister state over all these years. I want to give a lot of credit to the people who have been involved with Iowa's sister states. I wouldn't have this opportunity if it weren't for people like Sarah Landy and Luca Baroni and all the others that have served over the many years in sister states, and many of them have traveled to our sister state, the Hebei province, to Shishazhuang, and it's that relationship, I think, that impressed President-elect Trump that I would be a good choice for this position. We know it's a difficult assignment. There's a lot of friction and issues between our two countries, but I'm in a unique situation because I have a long-term friendship. I'm considered an old friend of the president of China, but I also have been a loyal supporter of President-elect Trump.
What about that change? You go from, you've led this state, you've been the top
Yeah.
person here. Now you're going to be answering to someone else.
That's right.
How's that going to be a change for you? How do you feel about that?
Well, I'm a humble guy, so I understand and respect that it's a different position. You're no longer the chief executive of the state, but instead you are part of, you're part of the United States government, representing our country in the biggest country of the world, China. They have like 1,370 some million people. They have the second largest economy. Their economy is growing. So there's a lot of issues that'll have to be dealt with. And obviously, I'm told there's a big staff, and there's, in addition to the embassy, there's also 5 consulates throughout China that would be under the direction of of my department.
President-elect Trump is already rocking the boat on the One China policy. Are you going to be taking your cues from him on that?
Well, I don't think it would be appropriate for me to comment on policy matters before I'm actually confirmed by the Senate.
The Senate will ask you when you get there.
Well, I'll let them if they're going to ask those questions, but it's not my role to be, but rather be a one that helps implement policy and works as a go-between between our two countries. I want to see the United States and China collaborate where we can, so that we can have a growing economy in the United States as well as in China, and that we can have peace in the world. And there's a lot of challenges out there today, and I understand that I've been appointed to a delicate and difficult position, and I will do my very best.
Last week, the Attorney General's office said that they still needed to review Iowa code, Iowa Constitution about this transition of power. Have you had conversations with them and you guys?
Well, my staff has had discussions with the Attorney General's office, but I think the Constitution and the code are pretty clear. The Constitution was amended before the 1990 election to have the governor and lieutenant governor elected as a team. And then it's always been the case that in the event of the death or resignation of the governor, the lieutenant governor becomes the governor. And then, and I'll let Lieutenant Governor answer the code provision, because that was passed when she served in the state Senate.
Yeah, that was a law that was actually passed when I served in the state Senate in 2009. And in the vacancy, the law reads, in the vacancy of the lieutenant governor, the governor shall appoint a lieutenant governor. So that was passed by both chambers, passed unanimously in the Iowa Senate and signed by Governor Culver.
Is that not the Iowa Constitution?
I think its intent was to clarify.
Right. The Constitution, sets, but the Constitution is silent on that.
And it, yeah.
And obviously, the Constitution was amended to have the governor and lieutenant governor elected as a team. And then this code provision passed after the constitutional amendment makes it clear what happens when you have a vacancy in the lieutenant governor's office today.
Why did that?
Oh, golly, Joyce, honestly, I think the intent was, if I remember right, it was a bill that was presented from Morrow, Secretary of State Morrow. So I think the intent was to clarify the Constitution, and that's the purpose of the legislation, which passed unanimously.
Yeah, because before that, the governor and lieutenant governor were not elected as a team before that constitutional amendment. And we have not had a vacancy in the lieutenant governor's office since the new system where the lieutenant governor became part of the executive branch of state government. Back when I was lieutenant governor, a long time ago, lieutenant governor was separately elected and was president of the Senate. So you were the one that succeeded the governor, but you were really part of the legislative leadership. And that, of course, was changed with the constitutional amendment. And then the subsequent statute clarified what happens when there's a vacancy in the lieutenant governor's office.
Governor, so there's the reality that 110 days could pass and you may still be governor. And under that situation, Lieutenant Governor, there's a lot of excitement about this possibility, and what hopes do you have to make a mark on the legislative session if the reality is that Branstad remains the governor for the entirety of the session?
Well, the reality is that we're really not going to do anything different. I have been blessed to serve as a partner in this administration. And when Governor Branstad asked me to run, he said, Kim, we're going to run as a team and we're going to serve as a team. And we have. And so we're going to continue working together to grow Iowa, to keep Iowa moving in the same direction. And so I'm going to continue doing what I've always done, and that's travel to all 99 counties to meet with Iowans, to look at ways that we can grow the economy and provide great careers for Iowans. We're going to continue to work on education and water quality. So we're going to continue what we've been doing for the last 6 years. And as we both like to say, we're proud of what we've done, but we're just getting started, and there's a lot more that we can do.
When you were reelected, you knew that history of the longest serving governor, but so much has changed now. Is there anything in the past that you think about this transition of power?
Well, it's unique. And I never imagined this. First of all, there's a lot of things that have happened. I mean, a lot of people didn't think Donald Trump would get elected president. And I guess maybe initially I didn't either, but that changed. That changed over time. And, I became, well, first of all, I'm a loyal supporter and a team player. I'm proud of what the lieutenant governor and I were able to do when we came back and defeated an incumbent, got the state's financial house in order after the 2010 election. And in 2014, we made additional progress, elected her friend, Joni Ernst, to the United States Senate. We ended up with 3 of the 4 congressmen. We restored the leadership of the Republican Party, and Jeff Kaufman's done a great job. And so we have a unified party where we have both senators, 3 congressmen. We have the leadership in the House and the Senate, the governor and the lieutenant governor, all working together. And that's a unique situation. I think that impressed the Trump team. And my son, of course, met Donald Trump when he was heading the bipartisan Renewable Fuel Alliance. He convinced Mr. Trump to visit the Poet ethanol plant in Gowrie, and Trump asked a lot of good questions. He became a supporter of renewable energy, and you know, I'll tell you a little story about what happened behind the scenes at the Trump thank you tour here in Des Moines. You know, he just appointed the Attorney General of the state of Oklahoma, who is a brilliant conservative lawyer, as a new head of the EPA. And he's taken on a lot of the overreach that's happened under the Obama EPA. But he's from an oil state, so obviously that gives us a little concern. The first thing Trump told me, he says, don't worry about him, he's going to be for ethanol. I think that was a condition that he basically laid out when he appointed him. So Trump's a pretty blunt, direct guy. And that was reassuring to me, and obviously to my son, who has worked very hard on those issues and also played a very key role, not only in Iowa, but he actually was sent to Wisconsin to help there too. And as you know, Wisconsin was another one of the states that Trump won that hadn't gone Republican in decades.
Last question, Joyce. Have you received bipartisan congratulations for being
I have.
the first female governor?
I have. I think Senator Hogue actually, had indicated congratulations. And I have, I come from county government, and as a county treasurer, I served 19 years in the office, and it's not very partisan. And so I've had the opportunity to work with Democrat and Republicans across the aisle, and actually was able, when I was in the Iowa Senate, to floor manage a bill and pass it. And it was on an issue that I'd worked extensively on as a county treasurer. And I was in the minority in the in the Iowa State Senate in 2009. So I was very appreciative to have the opportunity to run a bill that dealt with collecting outstanding debt at the treasurer's office, have it pass a Democratic controlled legislature and signed by a Democratic governor. So I have.
I would also say one of the things that I knew Kim when she was county treasurer. I was very impressed with her. I'd encouraged her to run for the legislature back when she was a county treasurer, and then she got elected to the Senate. And then when I had the opportunity to recommend somebody to the convention to be my running mate to be the candidate for lieutenant governor, as you know, the governor is nominated by the primary, but the lieutenant governor is chosen by the convention. When I chose Kim and we did a statewide fly around, county treasurers of both parties showed up at stop after stop. So you can see in the trophy case up there in the hall, she got this award as the best county treasurer in the United States. 2003.
Yeah, I thought he was going to talk about my basketball abilities. That's where
Well,
he was
that's
going.
another thing.
There is a picture of that also. Just back
Well,
when
but-
6-6 was the thing. Yeah, that's right.
Well, and she was a scoring forward. So, but I will say that the job that she did as county treasurer, and I think that's been a great assurance to people involved in county government. They have somebody that understands their responsibility and has worked at that level as well. And I think that has served her well as lieutenant governor and will serve her well as governor as well. And I was just impressed with the friendships and the working relationship that she has with both the county government and with the legislature.
Thank you.